Josh the Retro Gamer here. I'm here to bring you part 3 of the series that I've been talking about, Nintendo 64 Mini Classic Games. As you may have noticed, my shirt has stayed the same through part 1, part 2, and part 3. I do still shower, but I recorded all of these together because I love talking about Nintendo 64. It's taken multiple reshoots, so I might actually have to at some point release like some deleted scenes or some edited ones, because I've had a few little like haphazard things happen. I'm still trying to get used to this newer setup, and so there you go. So I'm just trying to get these as best I can, but I wanted to kind of do them all together while I'm thinking through what I did in part 1 and part 2. So now we got part 3. So part 3, part 1 was basically what I think Nintendo's actually going to release. That's what I think is going to be on the Nintendo 64 Mini or the Nintendo 64 Classic. Part 2, I wanted to just kind of do a fun video, and I talked about what if Nintendo couldn't get Microsoft or Rare or anybody to like be on board, and they had to release just Nintendo developed or produced, first party type stuff. What would they do? How would they come up with enough games? Well, they have a lot of really good games, so that's what I talked about. Because I had some people that were like, oh, well, they probably wouldn't even have enough to do it if they didn't have other people. But they actually had a lot of really good games on the system. I'd say they had almost 100, or close to 100, really good, solid games on the system. And maybe like a total of about 150 to 200, okay games. And then the rest of the games were not that great. And they only had about 390 or 400 games on the system, so they didn't have a ton of a huge library. But I think they did a good job on it. I really like the system. And so in part 3, I'm going to talk about my miracle list, my dream list, what I'd love for them to have on there. It's about 30 titles, so bear with me. I'm going to go quickly through the ones that I've already talked about in part 1 or part 2. Kind of just going to flash them up real quick or talk about them, and then I'm going to move on. The ones that I haven't talked about yet, I'll spend a little bit more time on them, tell you why it'd be really awesome to see it on this system. And I think they should do like a system with like 30 games. I'm kind of sad they didn't put as many on the Super Nintendo Classic, so I hope they don't cut it down again for the 64. I hope that they bump it back up to doing like 30 games, but they probably won't. But here we go. So ones I've already talked about, Super Mario 64, that one's definitely going to be on there. Mario Kart 64, definitely going to make it onto there. Star Fox 64, another one that I really love, hope shows up. I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't show up. Kirby, great one. Donkey Kong 64, definitely think that one's going to be on there. These two guys, I would love for both of these to be on there. I know in part 1 and maybe part 2, I think definitely in part 1 I talked about they might do one or the other, they might do both, they might do neither. I would really love for them to do both. I love them both for different reasons. Perfect Dark, I think, aged a little bit better, had a little bit better visuals and some multiplayer stuff. But GoldenEye was just a classic. A lot of people recognize it. The nostalgia factor is huge there. So I really hope that they are able to get both of them on there. That would be my deal, is to see both. So one I didn't talk about yet that I hope shows up, Diddy Kong Racing. So most people know about Mario Kart 64. People that haven't even played video games hardly at all in their whole life know about Mario Kart 64. But not a lot of people know about Diddy Kong Racing. This was actually a really fun racing game. I got turned on to it a couple years ago. I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. Some people think it's even better than Mario Kart 64. I don't know that I could say that, but I know that some people are diehard Diddy Kong Racing fans. And there are actually a lot of really good racing games on the 64. A lot of them I just found out about recently, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was on the 64. That sounds amazing. And I've been picking up some of those here and there as I find out about them. So that's all the box games. So we get into the carts now, so I'm going to get a little bit closer. Hold them up a little bit. But Mario Party 2 and 3, I'd love for both of them to be on there, honestly, just to have some variety. I think they'll probably go with just 3, and I've heard some people wanting them to go with just 2, because they think 2, or just, I want 3 to be on there, but I've heard some people say that they think 2 will be on there because it's a little bit of a better game. They like the mini games and stuff better, and it seems better. I don't know. I don't know enough about them to dissect them that much. I'd honestly be happy with either one, or both. So one I haven't talked about yet, I think would be a great one to be on there, Conker's Bad Fur Day. So this game was a lot of fun. I didn't know about it back in the day. It was a mature title, and so I mean, you could get it, but it was one of those you had to have someone over 18 to pick it up because they had some adult themes and crude humor and all of that. And I think it's a pretty fun game. I mean, it's kind of reminds me of like Boogerman or some of those games, you know, that they joke about, you know, farts and all kinds of things like that. And I mean, I think it's kind of fun. You know, I think there are some adult type themes in there, so kids these days, I don't know, would really see it as that. As a parent, like, I'm not a parent yet, but I don't know that I want my kid to play it pretty early on. I might want them to be a little bit older before they played it, or kind of judge based on the child, but I think it'd be fun to include it on the system. That's just my 2 cents. Because I know a lot of people that would really like it and enjoy it. 1080, I had a ton of fun with this one. I had it on my other list as well. I definitely want that one to be on there. Bomberman 64. I didn't really talk about that on my other ones. I would really love for it to show up. I don't have the 64, the second attack, Bomberman the second attack. I've heard both of them are really pretty good games. I've only played Bomberman 64, so I don't know if second attack's good. I have a friend that really likes it, so I just know it's one of the more expensive ones. But I'd be okay with either one of them or both of them being on it. That would be amazing. Banjo kazooie. I'd really love for that to be on there. There also was Banjo Tooie that came out on 64. So they could do both if they wanted, or they could just do one. I think if they do one, Banjo Kazooie is the one most people are going to recognize and remember. So on my dream list, I would do both, but probably just Banjo Kazooie, because I'd be okay with that. Wave Race 64, definitely hope they put that one still on there. Talked about the Pokemon Stadium 2. I hope both of them show up on it, but if they have to pick just one, Pokemon Stadium 2. Super Smash Brothers, I already talked to you guys about that one. Really want that to be on there. Great multiplayer battle game. Think both of these are going to be up there. Talked about those. So then we get into Pokemon Snap. Really would love for that one as well to be on there. I talked about this one in part 2. I don't know that they would put it on there, but it's a fun game. So if you haven't played it, check it out. You just go around and take pictures of Pokemon. I wish it was multiplayer. It seems like it's set up well to be multiplayer because you can compete taking the pictures. So I'd love it if they did that, but they probably won't like add that for this, but it would be awesome if they did. Mario Golf and also Mario Tennis. I don't have Mario Tennis to hold up here, but I think both those games would be great to put on there. Great sports games, you know, sports title related that I think would be fun to put on there. Paper Mario, that one would definitely be on there if I got to just, you know, pick and choose everything I wanted to be on there. F-Zero X, I already talked about that one. All right, now we get into a few that I haven't talked about yet. So this one is one that I have some very good memories around. I remember playing it on PlayStation as well at a friend of mine's house. But I also remember playing the 64 version quite a bit. And it would be a huge long shot for them to get this on the system. A big Hail Mary, if you will, but NFL Blitz. I loved NFL Blitz. It was a ton of fun. You know, trying to punch in the codes real quick before it loaded, like doing Hail Mary passes, tackling people, like constantly jumping on them after the play's over as long as you can until the screen cuts away. It was a fun game. It was a fun sports game. It was fun to, like, you know, beat up on your friends in the game and just have fun with it. So I really like that one. Another one that I haven't talked about yet that's an amazing game on the system that they hope they put on it, Star Wars Pod Racer from Episode 1. This was a really fun game. I mean, it went so fast. I remember being like, how in the world? Like, I remember seeing that on the film, you know, on Phantom Menace Episode 1 Star Wars, and being like, oh my gosh, that's so fast. And then when I found out there was a game of it, I was like, how did they even do that? Like, everything's happening so quickly, like, all of that. And then I found out there's an arcade of it, and it's like a huge game. Apparently, a lot of people love it. And it's a fun racing game. I told you, 64, it's got a lot of good racing games. Another fun game, Rocket Robot on Wheels. I really enjoyed this game a lot. I think this is the one. I'm not 100% sure. I want to say this one, or maybe I'm thinking of Uniracers. One of them was the one that was also done by Sucker Punch way back in the day. But anyway, this is a really fun game. I really enjoyed this a lot. If you haven't played it, pick it up. It's a lot of fun. It's a great game, and I hope that it would make it onto the system. If I was controlling it, it would. Another one that was a Blockbuster exclusive, I just found out about it about a year ago. That's super fun racing game, Stunt Racer. I had so much fun with this game. You get some like old weird looking cars, some weird looking tracks. You get all kinds of stuff you can do with it. Crazy people with hair colors and all different stuff. It's just a lot of fun. Check this game out if you haven't. I would love it if it was on the system. Probably won't be on the classic system because I don't think anybody really has heard of it outside of the people that are like collecting or looking for it. But it's a lot of fun. So I hope that they put that on there. Another great game, Snowboard Kids and Snowboard Kids 2. I just found out about this a month or two ago. A friend of mine turned me on to them, and I haven't played 2 yet. I don't have 2 and haven't played it yet, but 1 is a lot of fun just from the little bit I've played so far. I would love for that to be on the system, and really for both of them. I don't think that would happen, but I can be hopeful. The other one, Mischief Makers, another great game that you don't hear talked about that much, that I would put on the 64 Classic if it was up to me. I would throw that one on there. The last game before I do my +1 that I want to talk about that I would put on there, I have hours and hours of memories of me and a friend of mine and his brother playing this game just forever. I mean, we had so much fun with it. We played it all the time. Was Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. Great game with like, it's basically the plastic army men come to life, kind of think like Toy Story, and you can control them, and they have cannons and, you know, tanks and stuff, and you can drive them around, and mortars, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and you attack each other, or you can complete missions, and it's just a really fun, toy, exciting game. So check it out if you haven't. I would love it if it made it onto the classic system. I would definitely add that one and include that one on there. So the last one, that's my +1. It's the same one that I used on part 1, and that's Sin and Punishment. I haven't played it yet. I really, really want to play it. Looks like a great shooter-style game for the Nintendo 64. It only came out in Japan, and I think it'd be really easy for them to just add that onto the system or port it over. I don't think there's really any translation that would be needed or anything like that. I mean, they literally could just put it on the system and run with it. So I would love if that was like the +1 this year that they didn't really release originally on the 64 system in North America. If you're in another country or another part of the world listening to this, then you may have already experienced it and may love it or may have it. You know, comment below and tell me what you think about it, because I've been trying to get input from everybody that I can, and a lot of people seem to really like this game, and I would really like for it to be on there. So anyway, that concludes the series, part 1, 2, and 3 of what I think will be on the Nintendo 64 Classic or Nintendo 64 Mini. Thanks, Thomas, for suggesting it and for requesting that I do a video on it. And you guys, if there's any videos you want me to do or anything you want me to cover specifically or give my thoughts on or give ideas on or whatever, let me know. You know, I mean, I can't promise that I'll make a video on it, but I definitely will see it, hopefully. I try to check my mail and all that as frequently as I can. I'll hopefully see it, and I'll try to work it in, because I want to know what you guys want me to do, and I want to do stuff that's fun, that I like to do, but I don't want to be the one coming up with ideas all the time. I want you guys to tell me what you want me to do. So, you know, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and let me know what you want me to look into, and I'll see what I can do. So thanks for checking me out, and hope you enjoyed the series.